welcome back into the garage. Slightly different one today. I'm not on my tripod, am I? And I suppose you get a bit of a different perspective, don't you, when you look around and see it a bit more like this. With the bikes lined up and the jackets and stuff. Anyway, getting off again. I'm off down to Manx Radio. They invited me onto their podcast, which is called Journey to a Dream. I've had quite a few of the races on. Jim's been on, Mike too. Really interesting characters and a really interesting podcast. So after TT, they asked if I'd have some time to come down and do an episode with them. So yeah, let's head down there. I spoke to them yesterday with some ideas about general things we're going to talk about. And they said, would be interested in sort of making a short video about it. So take you along, not with the main camera, just on the phone today. But let's jump in the car and head over to Manx Radio HQ. From what I can gather, the podcast is basically based around people within motorsport on the island, within bike racing, so riders and anyone to do with the organisation and behind the scenes as well. So they've had a complete mix of riders and officials and medics and things like that on. Yeah, so I think Jim was on it. Might have even been the last video they did actually. Yeah, Jim, team number 2, he did a podcast with Beth. And obviously after he'd done that, he shared it round, and then obviously I became aware of it, and I've been back and watched a few, listened to a few episodes. So yeah, like, it's really interesting, and it's nice that they are just doing it and giving it the exposure I suppose it deserves. But yeah, from what I gather from Beth and Lee, who we've been talking to down at Manx Radio, obviously going to go through a little bit of maybe a bit of racing career, travelling marshal, and then because of how things have gone with the YouTube channel and how popular that's become and how interested everyone has become in the travelling marshal role, basically due to making people more aware of it. I think they want to talk a little bit about that as well. So yeah, I think it's just going to be pretty informal, pretty not much, there's not going to be any script, just get in there and pretty much do what I do on all these videos. Just start talking and then stop when I'm bored of listening to myself. I suppose it's nice to get out of the garage a little bit as well, isn't it? You must be sick of the sight of the inside of my garage. So those of you who don't know who Beth is, if you're ever around the grandstand at TT, then you'll obviously see her doing the Manx Radio coverage. She's part of the commentary team, interviewing riders or anybody who's around the grandstand to do with the TT. If you only watch like TT Plus, you probably won't get that, I don't think. It's just for like the local Manx Radio. Over the last few years, Beth's really become part of the Manx Radio team and the TT. She definitely knows what she's talking about. She knows the ins and outs of the job. She's there all the time. She sees what's going on. And I see Beth around the paddock, and she'll quite often ask us if she can have an interview with one of us. Just like before practice, if we get to the grandstand, we got some time. This year we did a little interview with Richard Wilson because it was his first TT, so it's like, here's your first TT, if you haven't got enough going on, here's the Manx Radio microphone stuffed in your face for a live interview. But Richard's like, he's got that, you know, that calm, cool demeanour, you know, that personality that works really well with being a TM, so he's fitted in really, really well. I suppose I need to speak a little bit more about Richard because obviously being his first year, so much to take in, and I've talked about it before, but like your first year is like so overwhelming, and Richard did have some concerns about it, you know, about the job and the things he was going to see and have to deal with, and would he be okay with them. He was absolutely spot on, absolutely couldn't fault him. He's like, shouldn't, like I would say, don't doubt yourself, and you don't know until you get into it, but he was absolutely spot on. He was really, really good. Anyway, I'm just turning up at Manx Radio now, so I'm going to stop recording here and see if we can catch a little bit inside.
Hi and welcome to this episode of Journey to a Dream with me, Beth Espy, brought to you by Kawasaki Insurance. So today's guest is another person who is instrumental in the running of motorcycle racing here on the Isle of Man. We'll get straight into it, and the links that you hear about during this episode will be on the podcast page so you can find them afterwards. Let's meet today's guest.
My name's Jonathan Woodward. I'm a current TT and Manx Grand Prix Travel Marshal, and ex-racer, as we all are, and now I've started the YouTube channel over the last few years, so that's brought so much more exposure and interest to the job.
Take us back to when your racing started then. Was it 2011 you did the MGP?
Yeah. So from the podcast up at Manx Radio, it was actually yesterday we got it finished, but I didn't record anything up there. We just kind of got straight in and got on with it. But it was fine. I'll put the link up below so you can have a listen to it if you're interested. Obviously a lot of the stuff that I talk about on there you guys will have heard on here, but there's a few things on there that you won't have heard because it was about like my journey to the dream of racing the TT course. So half of it's about sort of my racing career, and I go on to talk about the TM role and then a bit about the YouTube, and it was good. It's good, very well covered, and like Beth presents it really well, and she knows so much about it. She's not just a radio presenter who's just doing a job. She's got a genuine interest in it. So yeah, Beth's spot on, and it's really well put together, a little piece that. They're asking now if they can get all the TMs on, so I haven't actually told the boys yet, but I said I'll ask them. I'm sure we can get a few of them on, because everyone's got a really interesting journey through their racing career and then into the TM role, and then stories within the TM role. Like, we could have sat down for like 3 or 4 hours and talked, but again, no one wants to just hear us babbling on. But you're going to get all the views of the other TMs if you keep watching, listening even to the podcast as it goes on from here. But it's been a busy week for TMing, but part of that comes from my day job. So I was talking with the TT boys, and I've been speaking with Ed up there, who's like the press officer of TT, and we've been, because of my day job with the simulator stuff, I've been helping them with some advice and things about getting their bike simulator to a higher level, basically, for training newcomers. So we've got 26 newcomers coming over tomorrow. So we're in a bit of a rush to get the simulator ready for them to use. And then also we're doing laps in the car, real car. So I'm going to help them out that as well tomorrow. So I think we've got 4 or 5 cars worth of lads. I don't think there's any girls this year. I don't think so. Going around doing laps, but we've got good weather tomorrow, so that helps hugely. And otherwise, you're trying to do runs over the mountain in a car, showing people the correct lines and stuff, and you can't see anything because it's foggy. But it's going to be decent weather tomorrow. So yeah, we've got that. So busy up there tonight, sorting the sim out, and then up again tomorrow morning, Saturday morning, to do the newcomers run. And they're always interesting because you get to see the guys and their personalities, and you get a good impression pretty much straight away of like how they are as people, how professionally they take it, how much they listen, how much they ask questions. And I know not everyone's always comfortable asking questions, even if they want to, but you do get a good idea of like the preparation. And it's, even compared to my day, which wasn't a million years ago, it was only 2011, but the preparation work they do now is just like tenfold of what we did back then. Not that we took it lightly or underprepared, it was just the mandatory things and the things you were encouraged to do, and the things that were just on offer for you to do to come and learn the course just weren't there. It should be a good day tomorrow. It's just a really quick one, just to talk about the podcast, simulator stuff, and the newcomers weekend we've got coming up for Manx Grand Prix. And Manx Grand Prix is going to come around quick. I'm looking through the lineups, and there's a few names in there which I know, but the majority I don't. And sometimes you think you should know who they are, but it's I've spoken about this before, but it's really exciting. But all these unknown people coming in, they're like hidden gems, and I know that there's going to be a handful of them who are just going to take to this really well. They're going to be super quick, and they're the next generation, like I've said, of TT rider, and a few of them will end up being TT riders. That's the way it works. That's the progression. That's why it gets done this way. And it's always dead exciting finding those guys. I really enjoy that part of it. A couple of little things that popped up. I don't know if you saw it, but did you see the track day that Monster Energy organised? So they had like all of their like Monster Energy athletes from
bike riding side. So TT wise, you had Hickey and Josh Brooks, obviously all tied in with Monster with the PHO stuff, with Fayho's team, FHO. And then Michael, because Michael's all monstered up, John McGuinness. Did you have any other road riders there? Don't think they did. And a few others, like BSB lads. But you had, obviously, Valentino Rossi was there, Bagnaia, Bezzecchi, so you had MotoGP, some of the World Superbike boys, Johnny Ray, Locatelli. And so it was like the who's who of motorcycle stars all on a track day at Silverstone. And there's a great picture of Rossi with Michael. It's just ace, isn't it? It's like their world and our world. And sometimes you think they don't really, especially from their side really, from the MotoGP side, whether they really know or care about the road racing side of things. And I saw an interview with Michael and he talked about it. He was like, I didn't even know these guys knew who I was. But he got I think it was it Bezzecchi talking about him? And he's going on about Michael and how great it was to meet him and spend time on track with him. And Valentino talked about doing a few laps with John, and yeah, brilliant. I mean, that would be an ace to go to that, wouldn't it? But yeah, that was really good, interesting. And then we've got the Southern. The Southern starts next week, and that's come out of nowhere. But if you've seen the lineup, it's like the who's who of road racing is all turning up for this. Obviously, missing a few, like John McGuinness isn't doing it, and quite a few of the boys aren't. But if you look at the star lineup, it's brilliant. And I don't know if there's any way some of you guys can get over next week for the Southern, if there's last minute deals or a package deal with one of the travel companies. But it's brilliant. Southern 100 is so good. It's short circuit racing on a road course. It's fast, it's furious. They come past every couple of minutes. It's just it's really, really impressive. It's different to TT. It really is different. Obviously, it's first across the line wins. It's proper elbows out stuff. And some amazing racing goes on down there. And sidecars as well. How are they still getting sidecars around there in some of them places where they're going 2 or 3 abreast? Anyway, it's an amazing spectacle of Southern. So if you can get over, or if you're local and you just haven't seen it before or not for a while, get down and watch it. If we get a good day on the Thursday where we get the full day's racing, it's just an amazing day down there. But if you just make it down for one night next week for practice or even for some of the races, just can't recommend it enough. I'm going to try and get down, if I can get down between work. Not in an official capacity, not on the Fireblade, but numbers 1, 2 and technically 6 will be there. So Tony, Jim and Darren are TMing it. So those boys will be down, sliding around, doing wheelies and taking the newcomers around and things. It's brilliant. Southern 100, can't recommend that enough. That's pretty much it. Just another week, another update. And I heard tonight that Anthony Redmond, is back on the island from Liverpool. He's finished his operations and treatment out there. He's back over here at Nobles, back into hospital here. And that must be such a relief coming back to home. So I might even try and get up and see him and see if he'll do a little interview with me. He has said he'd be up for it. So yeah, I might go try and get to see Tony. But yeah, a little update on what's been going on this week. It's been a bit of a busy one really with a few different things. And I'll give you a bit of an update tomorrow after we've done the Newcomers trip round. So thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.